Hey everyone, this is Chris here, and today is September 9th, 2022, and in this video, I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on whether or not I believe Nick Kyrgios has the potential to win a Grand Slam title. Now, before we get into this topic, I'd like to encourage you guys, if you're new to this channel, to please take a minute to hit the subscribe button down below. That'll keep you notified of any time we release additional content like this, and of course, if you enjoy videos like this, then please be sure to share this video with your friends. Alright guys, so without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so this is a topic that I've been wanting to cover for a long time now because Nick Kyrgios is, if nothing else, a very interesting player to talk about. And it seems like everybody has a different opinion on what his actual potential was. There's people out there that think that he could have been a multiple-time Grand Slam champion, could have won a lot of Grand Slam titles. Other people believe that maybe he could have won a couple if he'd had more interest in actually training for these events. And then there's people like myself that don't believe that he could have won any Grand Slam titles because he never really had the weaponry, and also he didn't have the right mentality to be able to do so. And I'll be getting into that in this video. So we're going to go ahead and go all the way back to the beginning of Nick Kyrgios' career, pretty close at least to the beginning of that, and that's going to be the Wimbledon 2014 championships when he defeated Rafael Nadal in the fourth round of that event. And it was a huge win for Nick. I mean, it really put him on the board. A lot of people, including myself, thought this guy is going to win multiple Grand Slam titles. He's going to be the future of the game, probably. And Nick would follow this up with a very impressive quarterfinal showing at the 2015 Australian Open, where I believe he would lose to Andy Murray. So I wanted to highlight something here. Nick Kyrgios, before his 20th birthday, was able to make 2 Grand Slam quarterfinals. And generally when you see that with a young player that's able to make multiple Grand Slam quarterfinals, it's a showing that they're going to have a very successful career and they're going to win at least a couple of Grand Slam titles at some point. Now, it didn't quite work out this way with Nick because I think that Nick really stopped pushing at a certain point. I don't think that he really wanted to put in that extra effort to get up to that next level, to be able to compete with the big three on a consistent basis. And he strikes me as being someone that's probably pretty stubborn, and I don't think that he listened, to be honest with you, to a lot of his coaches. So I think that that probably hurt Nick in the long run. Nick would go through a few years of having up and down results. Sometimes he would have an okay result like at Wimbledon, but then he would lose early at the US Open and the Australian Open. And I think that really hurt him a lot in the long run. You know, his ranking started to drop down. He might get it back up for a little while, but then he would have a couple more bad months and his ranking would gradually get lower and lower until eventually he was ranked outside of the top 100. It might have even been the top 200, but it was pretty low. And then he's, of course, worked his way all the way back up now to I don't know what he is, 30, 20 in the world, something like that. But it's taken him a long time to get back to this point. And again, I really feel that that's because he did not have the desire to do this in the first place. It's very difficult, if not impossible, for someone to have a lot of success at what they're doing if they just don't really care that much about it. Another thing that I like to mention is that I believe there's different tiers in tennis. There's like a top tier where you've got players like Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, the absolute top of the mountain, the players that are going to always be competing for those Grand Slam events. You've got a tier below that where there's like a group of guys that can sometimes get in there to knock one of those top players off and win a Grand Slam title, but they kind of have to have the right set of circumstances to do it. And then there's a tier below that, and these are players that can maybe beat someone in that second tier level, but they're never going to beat someone at the top of the game. They just don't have the weaponry to really do that. And I would put Nick as being somewhere in between the second tier and the third tier. I think if you were to put him in 5 Grand Slams, let's say against Djokovic, he might win one of them, possibly. If Djokovic had a bad day, I could see it happening. You know, if it's at Wimbledon or the US Open, he's not going to beat him at the French Open for obvious reasons. But I think that if Nick had the right set of circumstances and he was able to consistently get to the finals of Grand Slams, yes, he could probably make that breakthrough at some point against one of the big three, especially as they continue to age. But the problem for Nick is typically that he doesn't have the consistency. He's not able to string together 2 or 3 really impressive wins before he loses at the event. So, and we saw that, of course, at the US Open. He beat Medvedev in the 4th round, and then Chechnikov beat him in the quarterfinals. So it was a good showing, but at the end of the day, he still wasn't able to really get through to win that Grand Slam title. And I think that that lack of consistency is really the thing that has hurt Nick Kyrgios the most. I don't see that changing for him going into the future. I think that he's still going to struggle to really push beyond where he's already gotten to up to this point. But it will be interesting to see maybe if he can turn things around. I don't see him as ever winning a Grand Slam title. I don't think that he has, again, the shots to do it and really the drive to do it either. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you at the next one. This is Chris, signing out.